Hello my nerds and welcome back. The border between science fiction and fantasy is, as regular viewers know, a favourite subject of mine, and it becomes even murkier when it comes to the concept of the multiverse. I'll be using 3 examples in this video: Rick and Morty, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and Everything Everywhere All at Once. Let's refer to the last 2 as Madness and Everything to keep this moving. There will obviously be spoilers, so tune out if you don't want me to ruin anything for you. The underlying concept tying these 3 examples together is the multiverse. This concept that every single possible version of the universe are all in existence. This is based on the many worlds theory, which is one of 3 hypothetical theories about how the multiverse might exist. Already, this creates a conundrum for us in the question of, are these 3 shows sci-fi or fantasy? The multiverse theory is only a hypothesis, and so currently untested. It may be true, making these shows sci-fi, or it may not be, making them ultimately fantasy. To keep dolloping the physics theorems on you, what we have here is a bit of a Schrodingers Cat situation, where until the theory of the many worlds multiverse is shown to be either true or false, then the concept will remain both sci-fi and fantasy at once, which in my opinion is fundamentally why the distinction between sci-fi and fantasy doesn't really work. Because at its core, sci-fi is the use of scientific extrapolation, the building of a story around technologies an author anticipates may come true in the future, but doesn't know for certain that they will. So let's delve into the mechanisms of multiverse travel between these 3 examples. In Rick and Morty, this takes the form of portals that allow the traveller to jump between universes and between different locations within the same universe. Why Rick even has a spaceship then, I don't know. I can only assume that Rick enjoys going for a drive through space. The portal gun he uses is therefore both a teleporter and a multiverse transporter. And because of this useful combination, it allows Rick to travel anywhere in any multiverse. How the portal gun works though is quite a vague explanation other than the existence of portal fluids that open the portal. In Everything, the universe hopping there happens in a very different way. Instead of an individual using a portal to move their body from one universe to another, instead they transfer their consciousness into the body of their counterpart in that other universe. The characters jump through the use of a randomness code, which dictates what random thing they need to do to enable them to jump to another universe. Our 3rd example, Madness, uses the mechanics we've seen in both of the other 2, with the character America acting as a portal creator because of her superpower, allowing her to transfer characters' actual bodies between universes, while Wanda uses magic of the dark hole to dreamwalk into the minds of other versions of herself in other universes. I wonder which of the 3 will label as fantasy soonest. Obviously Madness, not just because Wanda is a witch and is using magic, but also because superpowers from superheroes. Everything also is easily coded as fantasy because of the use of a randomness code, because that I know of, there's no theory for this. Besides, it's easy for us to disprove it, just go out and be random. If it works, then we're going to have a problem because there'll be a lot of multiverse hopping Gen Zs on our hands, considering how randomness is basically the god of their age group. So like Madness, Everything is also fantasy, but that's not really surprising. Neither show makes that much of an attempt to appear sci-fi, despite their using a heavily scientific concept as their underlying foundation for the story. Rick and Morty, however, they have portal guns, they wear lab coats, they are very clearly of a scientific mindset. However, their use of portal guns is just as much a magical concept as is the algorithm or superhero powers, which is ironic, considering the writer's enjoyment of poking fun at fantasy staples like dragons, which, considering our current genetic engineering capacity, are arguably more imminently likely than multiverse hopping portals anyway. Because ultimately, that's all sci-fi is. Fantasy that pretends it's more plausible because it's based on potential possibility, using the loophole of, well, none of you are going to be alive long enough to disprove this. But there's an interesting conundrum at the end of all of this. If multiverses are possible, then ultimately, somewhere in the infinite universes out there, then there would also be those with dragons and those with magic, since the laws of physics may very well be different in other universes. If true, then this would make what we otherwise consider magical to be a reality in these universes, which means that, ironically, all 3 of our examples, and in fact every fantasy tale ever written, could also ultimately be considered science fiction. This is the power of the infinite. Limitations fail in the shadow of infinity. Told you the boundary between the two was just stupid. Bye, my nerds. See you next week.